And this is where the perfectionism can come in, especially in our childhood, right? If we're noticing, if you're an HSP child and you're noticing in your family of origin, your parents, there's conflict, or your parents are not getting along, you as that HSP kid is going to try to make everything okay. And not that anyone's asking you to do that. This is just who you are. So you may be trying to make dad happy, trying to make mom happy. You're going to be that kid that does everything perfectly. You don't get in trouble. You don't talk back. You just do everything that everyone tells you to do perfectly. Right. And that is at a loss for you. You don't get to be a kid.
Hi, conscious parents. It's Carrie here, and I am here with a little info about raising our mindful kids. I've got some tips and tricks about breaking free of the box and becoming who you are and teaching your kids how to do that along the way. Join us. Hi there and welcome back. I have a wonderful guest today. I have Lisa Lewis here. She's a licensed therapist and holistic practitioner. Thank you, Lisa, for being here today. I'm so excited to have you.
Well, thank you, Carrie. Thank you for having me on today. I'm excited to be here too.
Yeah, it's so lovely to connect with somebody who works with highly sensitive people. I feel like that is a diamond in the rough. I don't know if many people, it's a growing area. So I'm really excited to connect with you and talk about that. I was sharing with you that as a highly sensitive parent, as I'm online, actually I didn't share this part, but as I'm online a lot and talking to other parents and connecting with other parents, I'm finding so many parents are exhausted, trying to get through day to day to day. And they're talking about how overwhelming it can feel having a highly sensitive kiddo. So I often will say, have you thought about looking into highly sensitive parent, highly sensitive person? Have you looked into this? What are your thoughts on that area?
Well, those are great questions. And I always direct anyone to Dr. Elaine Aron's website, hsperson.com, because she has the self-test to see if you can take the
Yeah.
test for free, and you don't have to sign up for anything like that, to see if you are a highly sensitive person. And I think it comes back to, especially for parents and whether your children are HSPs or not, is to know yourself first. And to know yourself first, so you know how to navigate yourself, and then knowing how to navigate your children, and then finding out about who your children are, whether you have one kid, two kids, three kids, because they're all different and they all have different needs. I have three children myself that are young adults. And I mean, I know so much more now that I did as a parent, parenting my kids. And part of that is because I became a therapist during their childhood. And so I feel like I didn't know anything. Now I know so much. And I'm like, wow, I wish I could go back and do it all over. I think probably every parent says that. And that's okay, because each person, I think, has their own journey and path in this life. And as a parent, whether you're an HSP or not, teaching your children how to be an adult in this life. And like, we were the only like mammals who have children for as long as we do. And like 18 years is what that magic number is. All of a sudden you're now an adult. And so teaching them as best that we can how to be an adult in this world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. At 18 years is a long time to think about. And when you talk about knowing yourself, you and I had chatted briefly before we started about perfectionism. I was sharing that my husband and I are all type A, highly educated. And so we like to research parenting and understanding our kids. And it can definitely lead to a perfectionist piece in the parenting realm. And then being highly sensitive as well, highly sensitive parents, it definitely can lead toward wanting to keep everything perfect in our kids' lives or perfect in their environment.
Yes. And I think I was, or I don't think I am as much anymore a perfectionist, but I can definitely identify as being a perfectionist as a child myself, and also into the parenting and wanting to provide like a perfect environment for my children. And I think all parents to some degree want to like provide an insular environment for their kids so they don't get hurt, they don't get beat up, whether it's, by another kid or by a grown up or by words or whatever it is. Like, we don't want to see our children hurt in any way. And that's not how life works.
Mhm.
And that to like provide tools for them so they know how to navigate and pick themselves back up. And also that whether you're a perfectionist or not, that coming back to a family who cares about you and loves you, that you can show emotional support. So then they can go back out in the world, whether they're 6 years old, 16 years old, 26 years old, and know like, hey, I know how to navigate this, or I'm learning how to navigate what's coming at me or towards me because I have a family that's raised me as best that they can and given me tools to help do that.
Are there pieces too that can come up as we notice these perfection pieces as a parent? Are those like opportunity? I think of those as opportunities for healing, growing, learning. Is that like when the challenges arise and things aren't going perfectly? I feel like so often as a parent, that can be a time where we can tune in and look for in ourselves what we're wanting to change or needing to heal. What are your ideas
Yeah.
there?
So I know for me, as a perfectionist and wanting like to help my children, that I think I took away learning opportunities for them to grow as a child. And I think it's not because something that I necessarily did. I think it was the environment that I was in. It even goes to like the basics of like where I lived, the neighborhood I lived in, and not having access to other children nearby. Like, I had to plan like play dates. And so then planning play dates is like, okay, I talk to the other parent. Are they going to be
Mhm.
home? Are they available? Okay, when can I drop them off? Or can they come over? And when are they going to be picked up? So there's like all these moving parts to help my kid have like a normal life or normal childhood experiencing with other children, but also that as a parent having to do that, help with that. Or maybe even when I was growing up, I didn't have that. I just
Mhm.
like, hey, this is where we live. You have to go out and find kids in the neighborhood, and you have to find a way to get there, or they come, come to us. So I think there is, and this generation, there is a huge difference in that we're laying out or trying to make it so easy for our kids or having the same things that we wanted as a kid. But there's all these other moving parts and steps that
Mm.
are taking place, and it's eating up so much time. So I'm not sure that even answered your question, but that's where the question took me.
Okay. Yeah, my husband and I definitely try to emulate the 90s is what we always joke about for raising our kids because that was when we grew up and it was pre-internet era. I think we had computers and some internet, but it wasn't like in your tablet or phone. So we try to emulate that, but you're right. Even if you're trying to emulate that, there are other kids out there on phones and social media and having all of these different balls of busy families, both parents oftentimes having to work nowadays. So these busy schedules that we all have, it's not like Johnny can walk next door and ask Susie to play as often as what you're explaining in a more simple time.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's beautifully said. A simple time. And I wish that it didn't feel like parenting is always that simple. Or how come it's not simple? Are we making it not simple? Or
Mm,
society not making it simple? Is electronics, all these devices that we all own, not making it simple?
mhm. Yeah. 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 Definitely. There's so many balls to keep in the air as a parent and trying to make all of these decisions. Um, as far as for highly sensitive parents, if they're feeling these moments of overwhelm or such, what would be some ideas? Do you have any ideas for parents going through this right now?
Yeah, so I like to use Dr. Elaine Aron's acronym DOES, DOES,
Hmm.
to explain what highly sensitive persons experience. The first one, D, and now I'm forgetting now I'm forgetting it. Oh, depth of processing.
Okay.
So as a highly sensitive person, you might even find this in your children, like we love to have deep conversations. The surface level conversations don't cut it for us. So if we even become uh, close to talking to people, that if we find someone that can go really deep, even like deep as, let's talk about like how the world started, how come we're all here? What does that mean? What is the
Mhm.
purpose of life? Like we found our people. And you can even find this in your children and just like the things that they're reading, the things that they talk about. And when you start to notice that about your children, especially if you think they're a sense that they're HSPs and you start to bring that out in them, it's like, whoa, like just hold on to your seat because it's going to be a lot of information coming out.
Mhm.
Excuse me. The O stands for overstimulation. So this is when we can get overstimulated, overwhelmed in our environment. And that could just be by lights, sounds, having a chaotic environment and being in large crowds, like maybe a no or just for short periods of time. So watching out that for yourself or for your children, how they respond or react in large crowds. This is when you see yourself or maybe your children needing to stand back, like at the edge and just watch first before they engage or participate. Like even like if you think about yourself going to a party, do you like to be on the perimeter, just checking out getting the lay of the land, or are you like more like no, you just jump right in and you just start talking to whoever is right in front of your face. Okay. So the E is the empathetic part, the caring part. And this is where we have to be careful because this is where we see the people pleasing, overgiving of ourselves, wanting to take care of others. And this is where the perfectionism can come in, especially in our childhood. If we're noticing, if you're an HSP child, and you're noticing in your family of origin, your parents, there's conflict or your parents are not getting along, you as that HSP kid is going to try to make everything okay. And not that anyone's asking you to do that. This is just who you are. So you may be trying to make dad happy, trying to make mom happy. You're going to be that kid that does everything perfectly. You don't get in trouble. You don't talk back. You just do everything that everyone tells you to do perfectly. Right. And that is at a loss for you. You don't get to be a kid. You don't get to grow up and make mistakes and have tantrums and crying because there's no room or you think there's no room for you to express yourself. And then the S is for sensitivity to subtleties. And these are that the HSPs notice all those nonverbal cues they pick up. You just walked into a room, like, oh wow, there was a fight going on here. There's something uncomfortable about it. You pick up all of these subtleties. And this is where that sense of overwhelm comes in, overstimulated, because you're like noticing everything and it doesn't feel like you even have skin on. And then you're just like flooded, not sure what to do. And then you go into like a freeze response or a fight response, that survival mode. And usually it's just more of overstimulation and you start to shut down and you start to isolate, withdraw. You may even see this with your kids, especially if they go to school. And then when they come home, they're just like, they just need to be by themselves to like recharge. So that's one of the things that HSPs as adults, they need to go inward, have time to be with yourself, kind of like let go of all that, what's happened during the day, whether you're at work, whether you're at
Mhm.
school, and just like, whew, that was a lot. And sometimes that being a lot is I need to take a nap because I need that ability to recharge myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It's so interesting as an HSP. I feel like my whole entire life, everybody has always told me to journal. And at the end of the day, sometimes I just want to lay down and not, be in a quiet, calming corner watching some really bad TV, just checked out. And picking up a journal was often a lot of work. So it's so interesting how many times it's been brought to my attention. I'd say like 15 times in my life, people have mentioned it to me. If you are not interested in journaling, what's a great way to release at the end of the day?
Well, as a energy healing practitioner
Mhm.
and also Reiki certified, and
Oh,
I
cool.
just started doing Qigong again, which is
Do
a
all of those. Yeah.
oh, you do all those too. That's
Yeah, I
great.
love it.
So my teacher, Dr. Maria Furlano, who I love, and she's like, it's called shaking the bones.
Mm,
And you
yep.
just get up and you just shake. You just shake it off. And you
Love
just
it.
shake for a couple minutes, 5 minutes, or she's like, or you could shake like a tree, and you're just
Mhm.
shaking like a tree. And if you do this with your kids, do them
Yes.
with them, right? And if you think about mammals in the wild, when they are
Mm,
being chased, right? They run away or they freeze, play dead. And then when the environment is safe again, like what is the first thing they do?
move.
They shake it off. So they shake it off. They're rewiring their nervous system. And then they go back to what they were doing. They were grazing or they were hanging out with each other, grooming each
Mm,
other, right? And that's one thing like humans we don't do. We haven't learned how to shake it off,
yeah.
right? And if we look at HSPs, which there are 20 to 30% of the population, right? And this is not a mental health disorder. It's
Hmm.
something that we're born with. It's an innate personality.
Personality. Okay. Yep.
Yet it's part of who we are. We can't like get rid of it, even though we want to get rid of it or we wish we could get rid of it. But we are 20 to 30% of the population, half men, half women. And our purpose is to be on the perimeter. And our purpose is to have those sensitivities because we are looking out for danger. So we're our herd mentality. Oh, there's danger. We have to alert the herd to run, to hide, to freeze, whatever that is. So that's who we are. And then it's whether our society, like I haven't lived in other cultures, other countries,
Right.
where it is more acceptable to be sensitive as a man or a woman. And in our culture here in the US, it's not. And it's
Yeah.
hard for HSP to feel like they fit in. And you may find in your whole life, where do I fit in? Where do I belong? And I'm not feeling like I belong anywhere. Right? And that comes back to, well, if you're HSP as a parent, as an adult, and you have HSP, it's like maybe this your where you belong is just right there in your nuclear family.
Wow. I
Mm.
can't imagine growing up in a culture where AHSP was just part of the norm, right? It wasn't like, I feel like in our society, sometimes in the American culture, we want to label it or we want to, I don't know, we want to find find the things wrong with it. Like you said, like you can't get rid of it. I think in our house, we are identifying with highly sensitive, and I'm looking to empower myself, my husband, and my kids as HSPs. So we're talking about it as a superpower. And so we're using it as a mindset of the superpower. Like, I can read the energy of a room when I walk into it. I can walk into a space and tell if a cat has been there because my nose is really sensitive. I can, I can help people when they're feeling really down. So that's been something that we've been working with our kids and empowering them in that. I know as a HSP, when I grew up, I put on so many layers of protection going through life and being told I was too sensitive or, being too emotional or needing to focus, all of those things, or being a high maintenance kid, right? Not being allowed to be a high maintenance kid, having to shut off the emotions like a faucet. So, yeah, we're looking to empower. I think that's really important for all of us going through this right now. And along the lines of empowering, I've also been teaching my kids about energy. We use a lot of vocabulary around it. I know my kids, so I have a almost 7-year-old daughter and an almost 10-year-old son, and they're in a socially emotionally focused school, so it's really cool. They get a lot of great vocabulary in those areas. Energy is something that I've been teaching them because I notice, like, my daughter will be talking to somebody and I was saying some of the topics sounded very heavy on her heart, and so I started teaching her about energy. And if somebody is telling me a story and I'm feeling it in my body and it's feeling really intense, I'm going to monitor. Am I walking away feeling sad? Am I walking away feeling tired? Like I need to be holed up in a little space? How am I feeling in that moment? So that's something I've worked on with my kids. Have you found anything that works for you?
That's great, Carrie. I love that. And I think, wow, you are like one of the, like, to be doing this with their children. And I want to
Mhm.
say kudos to you. And I
Thank
hope
you.
that you can reach a lot of parents to help their children. And I also like, I just want to say something just before we go on to the energy work, just to like as a protection for HSPs. Like having the vocabulary about HSPs, and not everyone knows about HSPs in the world. And it's
Yeah.
not like it's their fault. But also, they have like different language when
Mm.
we're out in the world where people maybe a more common language where people may understand it. And then when you're in your group of people that understand HSP vocabulary, to use that, but as a protection for you, that when you're out in the world, especially as you grow up and go out in the world, not everyone's going to get it or maybe even like it. And so
Mhm.
knowing how to navigate that for yourself, just as a protection. Yeah. And then going to the like the energy side of it, what I've learned, whether it's doing energy healing, Reiki, any kind of energy modality, is to have your energetic boundary, like your bubble that surrounds you, and to know what your energy feels like compared to somebody else's energy. And that learning that differentiation is what helps us navigate. Oh, wait, I'm feeling that in my heart. Is that actually me I'm feeling? Is that me? Or is that someone else's pain or suffering I'm feeling? Or whatever it is, anger,
Yeah.
right? And because as energy magnets, I want to say HSPs, because that's what we're born to do, right? The skin, like sometimes we don't feel like we have any skin to take in, like, I'll just hold that pain for you. I'll hold that suffering
Mhm.
for you. And then it gets so convoluted, and then we can't decide like, oh wow, like is that me or is that them or is that you? Well, I don't know. So now I just feel overwhelmed. I feel tired. I feel sick,
Yeah.
and then I'm drained, and then boom, we're out.
Yeah.
So it's learning like I'm going to have my energetic boundary, and that is like this. And I just love to do my hands in front of me, like having that bubble around me. Some people think of a Teflon shield, whatever you want to, whatever image works for you. And whatever comes at me just bounces off of me or bounces off of my boundary and falls to the ground. And then the phrase is like, this is me and that is you. This is me and that is you. And I can be here as grounded, centered, open-hearted while you are over there and you can be mad, angry, sad, whatever's going on. And I'm like, okay, that's not going to affect me, or I don't need to hold that or take it in. But I can let you be you while I be me. And I think that if we can teach our children how to do that, like, woo, wow.
Yeah. And they have the ability. My 6-year-old, I taught my kids on the way out the door to school. We do a white light spiraling around us and then a gold light spiraling around us. And then I taught them to say positive energy only, no negative energy allowed. And so now I'll say white and gold light and then they'll recite it. And they'll picture it. It's really cute. And so when I had taught my daughter about the energy work, she was in a situation at school where there was a kiddo that was going through a lot and was kind of just dropping this on my 6-year-old daughter. And she said, Mom, I felt that. And I felt that it was making me sad. And I was picking it up. So I did the white and gold light and I said the saying, and it helped me, Mom. So, the 6-year-olds, they can do it. We can teach them. It's finding the language and the tools and the way to word it for them. Like you broke it down. I love the this is me and that is you, especially as a highly sensitive parent, because being a former speech therapist and teacher and also Reiki practitioner healer, I want to take it all on for them when they're having a meltdown because their socks, they don't like the lining of the socks. They don't like the way the snow pants feel. I just want to heal it and fix it for them. And it can be very, very draining to go through 3 of those meltdowns a day. So this is me, that is you. I'm definitely thinking that's wonderful for parents to hear too.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love that example that you gave. And so it's okay that if you don't get it perfect or you have your own meltdown because you are human,
Mhm.
right? And you're trying your best too. And sometimes as parents, and I want to say especially moms, because I feel like we do a lot. We try to do everything because we're trying to make everybody happy in our family. And sometimes we lose our sense of ourself. And if we're not giving anything to us, and it's really hard to show up as ourselves or be our best self. And if we can't be our best self or give to ourselves, how can we expect to really give to anybody else, including our own family or our kids or our partners?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that because I think so many of us, especially with the perfectionist piece, we think that the perfect mom is always energized, always ready, always compassionate, and able to give and receive and be present with their child. But yeah, you definitely need the recharging time. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And the compassion for ourselves when we do have our own meltdown moments as well. I love that. I was going to ask you one last question, and you kind of touched on some of this, but what would you tell parents raising these kiddos today?
That they're doing a great job. Yeah. And to remind yourself, even if you don't hear it, even if no one tells you that, to tell yourself that you're doing a great job with the information and the tools that you have now, and to give yourself a lot of love, tender love, and a big hug to yourself for doing the job that you have chosen to do. And some days are harder than others. And sometimes you may want some gratitude, some recognition, and you don't get it. And not to take it out on anyone, but find that recognition and gratitude someplace else in your life. I think that's part of the giving to yourself, doing something in your life that brings you happiness and joy other than your family. Whether it's doing something creative, singing, dancing, whatever that is for you, try to do it and
That's
have that
beautiful.
sense of recognition, appreciation for yourself. Because that also models to your children, like, oh, wow, like, yeah, like mom is doing something for herself and look how important she is to herself. And then your children learn, like, okay, parents, adults need time to themselves too, right? I can be okay with another parent or babysitter, right?
Yep. Yep. That's beautiful. It's been so lovely having you on today, Lisa. Thank you so much for your time and your energy.
Well, thank you, Carrie. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and you're so easy to talk with, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you're bringing to the world and how you're trying to help other parents navigate this world as a parent.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in, Changemakers. This is Carrie. And if you haven't done a review for us, 5 stars and a little few words about what you've enjoyed in our podcast episodes, we would really appreciate it. If you guys would like to ever message me, I would love any questions you have or any feedback at info@hearttoheartlife.com. We also have a brand new website, which we're super excited to share. It's hearttoheartlife.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, and happy life, happy times, Changemaker families. Bye. Please remember that the information shared on this podcast is educational in nature and does not constitute licensed mental health advice. If you need such advice, you should speak with a licensed professional about your unique situation. Thanks so much, happy listeners.